Good day, everyone. Today we will talk about creating a strong qualitative research question, a step-by-step guide. When you do research, one of the backbone of doing a research is actually how to create a very strong research question. From the research question, all else will follow. It's like it's the focus or the focal point of your research. If you have a very good uh, research question, of course, no, you will be guided guided all throughout your research process, and of course, you have a nice research. No? If you are, it's founded, no, by a good research question. However, um, in our discussion for today, we will focus on how to write a qualitative research question. There are two kinds of research. You have qualitative method, um, the method that goes into in-depth data, about several things. So we also have the quantitative method, a research that really dwells on with numbers, using statistical tool in the analysis of data. And there are also other researchers who are using both, no? Mixed method researchers. No? They use quantitative and qualitative at the same time. However, today we will focus only on the qualitative research question. No? How do we formulate a strong qualitative research question? How do we formulate an impactful qualitative research question? Okay, to begin with, uh, the first step is identifying the research topic. No? Before all else, you have to identify first what your research topic is all about. No? You have so many topics, no? And you have to identify one. No? It's okay if it is broad at the first. No? Focus on a broad area of interest. So when you identify your research topic, it can be in general, it can be a broad topic at first. No? Consider topics that you are passionate about. Meaning, do not choose topics that you are not interested into. You choose a topic that you are interested in, because based on experience, when you research, when you're doing something that you're not interested, um, tendency is you will not finish it. No, you do not have the drive to finish it because you're not interested with the topic. That's why it's very important that you choose a topic of your choice. You choose a topic that interests you, so that there is this inner drive, this inner passion, to somehow continue, to finish the work that you have started. And of course, another is make sure that that topic is relevant to your field of study. Meaning, if you are an anthropologist, you focus on a topic somehow related on culture. If you are a biologist, you focus, of course, on biology. You choose something that is related to your field of study, because another reason is that, if it's related to your, or relevant to your field of study, you're an expert to that. No, or if not an expert of this, at least you're knowledgeable about that topic. Unlike if you are really not, if it's not something that you're interested to, if that's not something that in line or relevant with your discipline, well, who are you to talk about that? You're not an expert. You're an outsider in that discipline. So you have to choose something that um, you are interested in and relevant to your specific discipline. So, for example, in education, you might explore topics related to teaching practices, student engagement, or educational policies. So, if education, the broad idea of interest is education, but under education, there are so many specific interests, like teaching practices. You have student engagement. So, you might want to explore um, related topics. Example here, in identifying the research topic. No, If your research topic, if your area of interest is education, you might have interest in how teachers incorporate cultural diversity in classrooms. So the education topic is very broad, and if it's relevant to your discipline, you choose something another broader concept now under the banner of education. So say I'm education, but that's very broad. So what in education would I like to look at? So you say um, yeah, interest in how teachers incorporate cultural diversity in classrooms. So that's what your research topic is. So at least you have there at the beginning a statement of what your research topic is all about. But still, this is broad yet. This is broad yet. You have to do something to somehow tailor this to become a strong qualitative research question. Now, the second step the second step is you conduct a literature review. So, whatever we do, when we do, but as long as when we do research, we should conduct a literature review. We have to review existing research. What is there in the literature that has been talked about with our chosen topic? Review existing research. Explore existing literature to understand what has already been studied and where there might be gaps. So it's very important that your research question should be anchored with a research gap. Uh, Now, when you do literature review, it is only by doing it that it will help you refine your broad topic into something more specific. Now, because your chosen topic might be something that is really well studied, and your topic might be a replica, a duplication of another study. That's why it's very important to conduct a literature review so that you will know what has been studied and what has been not. And when you find the gap, your research question should be anchored with that gap. So example here is after reviewing the literature, you find a gap in research on how teachers in multicultural settings adapt their teaching methods. No? So from applying culture now in the literature review, he found out that teachers in multicultural settings, that there is no study between teachers who are in multicultural settings and how their teaching methods are. No, siguro there are several studies about teaching methods with teachers in normal scenario, normal environment, no, but there is no studies about teachers in multicultural settings. No? So of course, you can only say that and you can only uh, formulate that after a thorough literature review. No? So you cannot find the gap if you do not have if you do not see the relevant literature, no, relevant research regarding your chosen topic. Okay. Now, step three is define the purpose of your study. Now you have already the topic, you have already found the gap. Now define the purpose of your study. You clarify the goal. No, because it's still a statement. Yeah, it's still a statement. Now, what do you want? Uh, what do you want in your study? What's the purpose of your study? You clarify your goal. You determine what you want to achieve with your study. So, are you trying to explore a new phenomenon, or you want to understand experiences or uncover patterns? No? So, when you say multicultural settings, teaching methods, no? What about the teaching methods? What kind of teaching method? What is a more specific question that you want? Specific topic that you want to explore. So for example, the purpose is to explore the experiences of teachers in multicultural classrooms and how they adapt their teaching methods to accommodate diverse cultural backgrounds. Okay, so from the gap from the research topic here in step three, you define the purpose of your study. So what now? Yeah, you want to look at multicultural teachers teaching in multicultural settings. how their methods are being made. Now, where what specific part of that would you want to see? Yeah, so what is the purpose of your study? So there you will, in step 3, you define the purpose of your study. So going back, we started with looking for a research topic, a topic that interests you. Then we look at the literature to see and identify gaps. And then, of course, once you identify gaps, your topic should be anchored in those gaps. And then step 3, you define the purpose of your study. What's the reason why you're studying this? What's your main purpose of the study? Remember that when you do research, it should be in fact impactful. It should not be you're doing it just only for research, but you're doing it because you want to help. Let's say, for example, in this topic, you want to help the teachers. You know? They might have barriers, they might have bad experiences. The product and the result, the output of your research should something that could help those teachers in multicultural settings. Yeah? Now we go to step 4. Now, step 4 is narrow down the focus. Now, so you have to specify the scope. Limit your focus to a specific group, context, or aspect of the topic. This helps in making the research question more manageable. So you already have, in the previous step, step 3, you were able to focus on the purpose, and you were already able to identify that it's a multicultural setting, a teacher teaching in a multicultural setting, the methods, how they do their teaching practices. Now, when you say teaching in a multicultural setting, that's still the very generic. No? Yeah, it could be here in the Philippines, it could be somewhere in Africa, it could be somewhere in Asia, or it could be somewhere in Europe. Now, it's still very broad. So one thing or one way in order for it to become more narrowed down is to identify. To identify a specific group, context, or aspect of the topic to make your topic more smart, specific and manageable, attainable, time bound. For example, focus specifically on primary school teachers in urban settings. So, in, in this topic, at first you said teachers in multicultural settings. Now teachers ranges from elementary, high school, and college. To narrow down, you focus only on the primary school teachers in urban settings. So that's one. That's step 4. You narrow down the focus. Then step 5, you formulate the research question. How do you formulate your research question? Now, since this is a qualitative research question, you formulate it using how or what to start your question. Because it's qualitative, it's actually designed to collect to collect a multitude of data, collect a plenty of data. So you started with how and what, and with these questions, we'll be able to explore, describe, and understand experiences and processes. Ensure that your research question is open-ended, because we are doing here qualitative research, and the open-ended question is what is really prescribed. The question should be open-ended, allowing in-depth exploration rather than a simple yes or no. You make sure that your research question is not answerable by yes or no, but instead uh, a question that can discussion. Generate discussion. So example, how do primary school teachers in urban multicultural classrooms adapt their teaching methods to accommodate students from diverse cultural backgrounds? So how do primary school adapt their teaching methods to accommodate students? So when you ask that question to your respondents, that's something that he cannot answer with yes or no, but instead he will be going to describe. He will be describing how did he do it, how did he do it, no? So he will be telling you about the process, the techniques and all, no? Which is actually what you want in the research study, no? Which is also following, no, the qualitative method. That's the beauty of having open-ended questions, because if not open-ended questions, your respondents will just simply say yes, no, yes, no, no. Answer is, if it's answerable by yes or no. But if you're using an open-ended question, they will keep on talking. They keep on talking. That's why it's also very important in qualitative research is that you have also a skill, no? A skill of asking questions, no? And probing questions. You ask there should be times, no, during your interviews that you dig, you probe questions that the respondents will really explore, will really talk a lot, and will really give you many data, no? It's just like a conversational probing, no, conversational probing. Now, step 6 is to ensure feasibility, no? Meaning make sure that your question is feasible, no? Consider your resources. So ensure that the research question is practical and that you have the time, resources, and access to participants needed to conduct the study. So ensure feasibility, of course, if you want to finish it on time, if you have a deadline and you have less resources, you look for a multicultural setting that is near your place, that is accessible to you. No, do not look for, like, you're in the Philippines and you want to study in Africa, but you have limited funds. No? So ensure that it is feasible. No? Ensure that it is manageable. No? As they say, no, it should be smart. It should be smart, specific, manageable, attainable, time bound. No? Example, confirm that you can access primary schools with multicultural classrooms in urban areas. Make sure that this urban area is accessible to you. You have access. If you do not have access to this, you're from the rural area, and it will take you time. It will need you to spend much money. Then try considering it. No? Make sure that your research question is, it's feasible. Then step 7 is you check for clarity and focus. No? Refine the wording of your questions. No? Refine the wording. No? Ensure that the research question is clear, focused, and unambiguous. No? Meaning it should be clear. No? It should not be disturbing. No? When used, you should not use analogous terms. No? It should be clear that the context of the term should be very specific. It should be specific enough to guide the research, but broad enough to allow for in-depth exploration. For example, how do primary school teachers in urban multicultural classrooms adapt their teaching strategies to meet the needs of students from various cultural backgrounds? That's very clear. How do primary school teachers with urban multicultural classrooms adapt? No? The question is very clear. The question is very focused. Of course, when you look at the question, it's very clear that it's designed for multicultural classrooms in urban areas, and its teaching strategies and the background is from students with having different cultural backgrounds. So that's step 7, where you check for clarity and focus. Step 8, you evaluate your question. Ensure that the research question addresses the important issue in your field and has the potential to contribute new insights or understanding. Make sure that your question will generate answers that are uh, you have to ensure that the research question addresses important issue in your field, no? And has the potential to contribute new insights or understanding. So usually when you submit your paper to journals, no, Actually, there's a journal that I have submitted that I just got rejected. It's okay to be rejected, no, because in publication, rejection is really not, rejection is the norm, no? So one common reasons why a paper gets rejected is um, your paper does not address a potential issue, or your paper do not give a new insight or understanding. That's why it's very important that you have to evaluate your question. It should be in the question alone. You can already see that um, the the way forward of your question is addressing a specific issue, no? Make sure that that issue is very, controversial in your field. If you want it to be more, what do you call this, if you want many people to read it, to read about your topic, no, you make sure that it is controversial and it is something that is very attractive, no, in your field of discipline, no? Example here is the question addresses the increasingly important issue of cultural diversity in education, no? So one technique to make sure that it is important is when it addresses a gap in the literature. When your question addresses a gap in the literature, it's important in a way because it's not yet being talked about. No? It's something new in your field. So it's a new knowledge. You make sure that it's a new knowledge. It's not because, when you do research, aside from the impact that it brings to its clientele, it is also very important that you are able to bring new knowledge to the table, new knowledge in the literature. That's why you are called a scientist, because you generate new knowledge. So it should address also a very important issue. By your new knowledge, you are addressing an important issue in your specific discipline. So that's step number 8. Evaluate your research question. Okay? Now, step number 9. No, this could be optional, no, because you alone, no, you as a researcher can actually know if your question is good enough, no. Now, you test your question. If possible, discuss your research question with peers or mentors to get feedback. You might also conduct a small preliminary study to ensure that the question is viable. No? Because there are times that we think that our question is already good. We think that our question is already functional, no? But when you go to the field, you realize, oh, why are they having a difficult time answering my question? But there must be something wrong. No, I think it should be revised a bit. That's why it's very important that you pilot your question, no? Because it's already late and you're already conducting your fieldwork and you realize that there's something wrong with your research question. So you have to pilot your research question. Example, discuss the question with your advisor or conduct a few preliminary interviews to refine your approach. So conduct a few preliminary interviews, no, to make sure that you have a good, your approach is actually functional. No? You have to pilot your research question. Step 10 is you finalize. You settle on the question. Once you have refined and tested your research question, finalize it as the foundation for your qualitative study. Now that you have done all those steps, and now you have to finalize the question. So you look at your question, you review, you recheck, you evaluate, you pilot, and make sure that your question is good enough. And if it is good enough, you finalize it as the foundation of your qualitative study. No, you check questions, you check grammar, and you ask yourself also if you will be asked those questions, will you understand your question? And then you finalize your question. Example here is, how do primary school teachers in urban multicultural classrooms perceive and implement culturally responsive teaching strategies? So that's your final question from your basic question a while ago after you have determined the gap in the literature to something very, very functional, no? Something, a research question that you have tested, you have piloted, and a research question that is well thought of. So that's how you make a qualitative research question. By following these steps, I assure you that you will be able to come up with a very impactful qualitative research question that will serve as a backbone for your qualitative research study. Okay, so I guess we have captured the steps, and I hope that you learned something. And now you are confident, no, if in doing your qualitative research question. So we are actually discussing this qualitative research question in connection with our previous discussion on how to write a good introduction for publication, because we know the introduction also is also founded from that good qualitative research question. So this is Guru09 Social Science. Now if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, and if you like these contents on research and other social science subjects and social science issues that we will be talking here in my channel, please like and subscribe the channel, and of course hit that notification bell so that you get notified whenever I upload new videos. So thank you and have a good day ahead of you. God bless.